Hi, this is for my students of architecture. Others can just kind of scroll down or maybe hit a like. The students of site exposure. You're supposed to visit 3 different sites at the minimum and make a site appreciation report, right? So the 3 sites can be of different categories, like one maybe a residential one, another an industrial, the other one a commercial site, right? I'll be taking you to various sites physically. After this, of course, the lockdown, yeah, where you will be collecting certain data. So what are these data that you'll be collecting? You can write down. Those are kind of 11 points, yeah. Starting with the location. Second is the neighborhood context. Third is the zoning and the size of it. Next is some legal parameters. Then comes the natural and the physical features of the site. Then the man-made features of the site, the circulation, utilities around the site, the climate, the sensory, and the human and the cultural aspects of the site. So, coming back to the location, you will be identifying exactly, pinpointing globally where that site is located. Of course, today you have Google, so it will be easy for you to do that. It is the location that matters a lot, and that's the reason it is the first point in the site, right? Location would dictate how your building would be oriented, how the wind is flowing through the site, the perpetual wind direction, the movement of the sun. Then comes the neighborhood context, the immediate vicinity of the site. What is there in the site? What is there outside the site? Immediately around the site, right? You have to go all around the site, click photographs from all 4 corners toward the inside of the site and from inside towards the outside of the site, so you know the entire context of it when you go back to your desktop and study, right? So the immediate surrounding of the site includes the data on the zoning and the buildings and other aspects of the project, right? Next is the size and the zoning. You need to consider the dimension, such as the boundaries, the easement zones, the height restrictions that are there, the site area, access, along with further plans of development if there is any. Along with this comes the legal aspect of it. The legal information talks about the ownership of the site. Whether your client is really the owner of the site, you need to figure out that first. Yeah. Restrictions or other council requirements, maybe the building bylaws or maybe the urban development norms that is there, that you need to study. Then comes the natural and the physical features of the site that you have. Whether the site is a rocky terrain, whether it is a site with huge kind of a forestation, it will be difficult for you to make any buildings without destroying the trees there. Whether it is a marshy land, any water bodies are there or not. Trees, rocks, topography, rivers, ponds, drainage patterns, all this stuff comes under this particular point. Yeah. Then there could be man-made features. Your site could already be encroached by somebody else. Yeah. There could be existing buildings, maybe walls surrounding traffic movement, pathways within the site. Maybe some illegal or maybe legal construction within the site. Nobody knows, so you need to pinpoint those. Coming to the circulation point of view, how is the vehicle movement that will be happening within the site and how does it happen at this point of time now? How does the pedestrian movement that is there through the site and around the site? Consider the timing of these movements. So you need to kind of sit there and do a quick traffic study that you know how to do it. Study what are the kind of vehicle that runs through the site. Yeah. Or maybe pedestrian movement that happens to other sites through your site. And you need to figure out the possibilities of whether you would be able to realign those movements so as to come up with the design that will be there finally. Then you need to figure out whether there are any kind of utilities, electricity, gas, water, sewage, telephone services, or some other connections are there existing or not within the site. You need to consider the climate, how the climate is at that particular region, not just the weather there at that point of time when you visited it, but also the climate of it, considering a larger stretch, ideally the entire year through. So you'll get those data from the local meteorological departments, or maybe Google is a good one to study. To find out the climatic information such as rainfall, snowfall, if there is any wind directions, temperature, the sun path, and all considering during different types of the year through various seasons, of course. Then something pretty interesting is a sensory component of the site. How does the senses affect your comfort level when you are there at the site? This addresses the visual, the audible, the tactile aspects of the site, such as the views from within the site, outside the site, how is the noise level out there, and for that what needs to be done. Those you need to figure out. These again should be considered in time frames. When you're studying the traffic through a time of the entire day, or maybe several days throughout the week. And identify some positive and negative factors and attribute those to the conditions. Of course, the final point would be the human and the cultural elements, the psychological, behavioral, and sociological aspects that are there at the site, which are the surrounding immediate vicinity, activities and patterns, the density of population, ethnic patterns, employment, income values, and so on around the site. So along with all of these studying, you'll have to find out how does the site respond to the context and make a SWOT analysis of the site. It is SWOT, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You need to figure out what are the strengths of your site, the weaknesses of your site, opportunities of your site, and threats that are there on the site. This kind of analytical data can then be split into two major categories: the hard data and the soft data. Soft data looks at the site conditions that can be changed. Hard data looks at some concrete elements such as the site boundaries, site areas, utility locations, contours, dimensions, site features, climate, legal information, which are not changeable. Right? There are certain limitations of an architect, can't change everything. Early site investigation should look at the hard data. From this, we are able to establish which elements we consider to have a negative impact on the site or our proposed design, and which conditions have a more positive influence. This allows us to create a hierarchy and gives a more systematic approach to understanding the data and further developing the design. So you need to make sure the analysis is very thorough, and it's important to carry out the site analysis that we are endeavored to research as much as possible and collect as much as data available from there at the site for our design. Because poorly executed site analysis report, or a site recce, as you can say, site reconciliation report, site appreciation report, whatever you call it, can lead to a substandard design due to the designer or the architect not having all available information to respond and develop solutions for. There's a saying, you can never know too much of a site, as there is always, there is something left unknown. There will always be something left unknown of a site, but still you need to reach that level of knowledge where you can actually have almost like close to 100% of the data that is there available at the site, and then go ahead with your design. So a contextual analysis is very, very important, which has to be definitely research based. It will look at existing conditions of a project site along with any imminent or potential future conditions. The basic purpose is to inform the architect about a site prior to the starting the design, so that the initial design, that thought process, your thought process about a site can incorporate each and every aspect of it and response to it external conditions. So an architectural site analysis will look into such issues: your location, size, topography, zoning, traffic conditions, and climate. So as I said, the analysis also needs to consider any further developments or changes of the site surroundings, such as a change on road destinations, changing cultural patterns, or other significant building developments within the area. So before you go to your desktop study, or before you go even visit the site, there's a lot of information that you can collect even from the internet and all other sources by carrying out thorough research prior to your visit to the site. When you visit there well informed in advance and possibly have identified specific things about the site. Maybe take a site plan along with you if you have, and mark what are there that you have found out at the site into your plan, so that helps you ahead into your design when you come back from the site analysis. Prior to your site visit, it may be necessary to obtain a map of the site, maybe a Google map or some other kind of a Moja map, or a kind of a map, any kind of maps, a survey drawing or something. From the client, or maybe from the client will give you some kind of a map, and get those ground truthing done when you are there at the site. So make it a point. Probably you write down those 4 points, before going to the site. A geological map, a Google map or something, to discover the predominant type of soil or rock on the site, and kind of vegetation in and around the pathways everywhere around the site, or maybe wherever it is. The aerial photographs and maps. If you have some aerial photographs, great enough. If you don't have, you figure out how to get it from somebody. Maybe the client will give you, or you do something about it. Today you have drones, so that a lot of surveyors will give you drone study maps. If you have historical maps, today you can get historical maps in Google Earth. Distances and travel times from various points of importance, some nodal points to that particular site. How would you reach your site? That is important to be figured out. You need to know the legal information, the bylaws, the right of way, right of access, town and country planning regulations. All these can be done even without visiting the site. A little bit of history of the site, anything that is relevant to your design. How was the site used previously? Important information like the site sits on a conservation area, or maybe it's kind of a green belt or something. So a lot of data can be available. You can figure out development controls. Are there trees on the site? Do you have permission to cut down those trees, or should they be preserved? Any utilities, water body, or any water supply lines, electricity, gas lines, telephone, sewerage lines running through your site or not? How is the climate out there? Sun paths and angles. All these can be done over the desktop, even before visiting the site. So after coming back to the site, from the site, if you have those information along with the desktop study, you will be having a solid site exposure report, or site analysis report, or site reconciliation, or site recce. A lot of this information are freely available, but a lot of it may not be. So you can ask your client, or you can ask your teachers if you are a student. There are many more things to look at, and each site is very different, and each site has a different requirement, and each site will ask for a different design altogether. So it cannot be a one size fits all. As an architect, you should always remember that your design has to be unique for the site. It will be unique even if it is the site next to your previous site that you have done. You cannot copy one design and paste it into another design. That is just not done. So this is more or less about it. Just pull out a great camera, or these days you have nice mobile devices where you can take good photographs. Take a sketchbook along with you and hit the site. Bye.